Freaky Table is brought to you by Nikki Hits Beauty Studio, Bonamusadi, Douala, and Jungle Hawk, Boya.
Hi everybody, welcome to Freaky Table. It's your girl John Gomba Yana Jr. is in the building, as well as Kwa Ilonge, and today we're going to be talking about PR crisis in Cameroon. And it's a known fact that Cameroonian rapper Thierry Aya Mengomo, I have to be pronouncing this name very slowly, Thierry Aya Mengomo, aka Tenor, a 23-year-old rapper, is being locked up in prison for allegedly unintentionally killing somebody, as well as driving under the influence and perhaps driving without a proper license. 3 charges against him, allegedly. And but it's the way his management has been handling the entire situation, from having an accident to someone losing their lives during that accident, to when he's been picked up by the police and jailed at New Bell in Douala. Now, the entire process, maybe has not been communicated well to his fans and to the media, and that's where we have a problem. So today we're going to be discussing the PR wahala in this country. Yana Elongish.
Hello.
You guys, Yana, I love you.
Come on. Come on.
Is this some PR move or something like image branding?
This is just me being myself.
What's going on?
I just threw this on.
You just threw it on. You don't get in.
Why is he joking? My sauce is too much for you.
No, I'm nauseated.
You cannot stand it. It's fine. I understand.
Stop touching me.
I mean, before we start, can I check you guys' shoes? Because I saw one shoe on the internet. I do not understand.
You can check them out. I mean, you want the audience to also see.
Really love
They can check it.
Louis Vuitton.
Explain the shoe.
Louis Vuitton is very expensive. I just want to make it clear.
Okay, it's as expensive as Yana sweater.
No, it's not. It's not. Of course, it's not.
The whole assembly is not half of its price.
Just talk. Talk. You want to talk now.
All right, guys. I know that we can laugh about all of this,
Yeah.
but somebody's languishing in police custody at the moment, and his future is on the balance now.
Yeah.
Lawyers are struggling for him to get out, and then he's also being held accountable for something. The parents of the girl who died during the accident, which he was also involved, are actually accusing him of killing their daughter. Like, a lot of things are going on in that guy's head right now. Like, if you were Tenor right now, what would you be thinking?
Are you asking me that?
Yes. I know you don't look jail friendly, but
By the way, I've been around the premises before.
Yes.
Belonga is an expert in being
the both of us, we know that.
So you guys have better to say this. You guys better to say this. But where do I start? I mean, first of all, let's start from Tenor's management before going to Tenor himself. I think in how everything happened and how it escalated, there was a problem of communication from the basic level of explaining exactly what happened, how it happened, and then taking responsibility for the actions. Because now you know that in traditional sense, when an incident happens to a public figure, tendency is to wait, take a break, think it through, get the lawyers in, get the communications manager in, and the publicist in. So okay, how do you go about this? So it's more like a 24-hour where you keep the public waiting. So the public is guessing in their corner. Too. But then because the media was almost like, okay, it was mainstream media where it was one way straight, right? It was just given to you. So you believe what was given. But then now we have social media, which makes it more difficult for you to control the flow of information, which means you have to act promptly and in all honesty. Because one of the tests they teach in PR classes, say the truth, right? But not all of the truth.
Yeah.
But at least say the truth. But not all the truth is where you don't say something that incriminates you. But then again, now it's finding that balance between being honest with the public, because I know that the public is going to find out. People can record videos right now. Information flies with the speed of light right now. So it's preferable you say exactly what happened, and then you take responsibility. I'm looking into the situation, or we are taking these actions into this. Let the public be clear on what happened.
Anyway, speaking about that, by the way, his manager is called Tafis. I think some of us know him personally or seen him. He acknowledged in his press release, because it was totally in French, so I was just trying to translate and summarize it. He acknowledged that there was an accident.
Yes.
He acknowledged that his client, who is Tenor, was involved in that accident.
Yes.
He acknowledged the fact that somebody passed away during that accident, a young girl, she's 22-year-old, Mifia Mulyong Erica, a year one student at St. Jerome Catholic University in Douala. She passed away. Then he now goes and says that the driver was nowhere to be found. And they are deeply saddened by the death of Erica.
Yeah.
But they stand with their fans. That's a Tenor rights or something like I don't know how they call them. And then thank the entire public for their kind words and care. Mm-hmm. And so never mention the fact that, okay, Tenor is going to stay at the hospital for so. We'll keep you guys updated for so. Now, one thing that people did not understand in that whole press release was the fact that when he said that the driver was nowhere to be found. By the way, there were 3 people involved in that accident that has been proven. According to Journal du Cameroon, reports that there were 3 people: Erica, the driver, a certain driver, in quotes, and Tenor. Mm-hmm. Those who took out the victims from the car before he actually just went down in flames said that Tenor was the one who was driving. Now, the charges are perhaps he could have been driving allegedly intoxicated or driving under the influence of alcohol or any other drug, or including weed. And then driving license. He may not have carried a valid driving license while he was driving. So nobody has ascertained the speed at which he was driving, or, those other details we don't have. Mm-hmm. So do you think that if you're talking about management actually, coming up front to handle the narrative, right? What kind of information would have been in that press release?
I think first of all, it's first of all, he did acknowledge the fact that this happened, right?
Yeah.
But then now, it's being honest with the fact that somebody...
That's like days after.
Yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying, because before he even did that, people were making assumptions online. People were carrying out theories online. And even, I know a few Bamu people were saying, if this girl's father goes to the village, they know he's dead. You understand? So people are really saying things which it's okay for them to say things because that's what people normally do. But then now, input information is about, okay, this has happened.
Yeah.
And we acknowledge that life was lost, right? And we're taking these responsibilities for blah, 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 blah. The due process, because when life is lost, you cannot take it for granted.
So they should just go full-time empathy.
Yes, empathy. Because at this point, there's no trying to play an image thing here because it has happened.
Or blame game.
No, because it has happened, right? The public are not seeing Tenor as an artist anymore. Of course, his fans will see him like that. That's him as someone who has committed a crime.
Right.
There may be sympathy with the fact that, he's an artist, how can you? But then just put out things the way they are. Of course, but then you're not the law. You're not the law. You're supposed to say this has been forwarded to the right quarters to handle this legally, right? So you make sure you're thinking yourself to law, so you don't seem guilty. And in the eye of because there's a court and there's a public opinion, court of public opinion. If you are not honest, just forget it. You're gone. And to always bounce up from a crisis, man, is a lot of work.
Yeah. Elonga, I know that you're used to writing press releases. What was wrong with that release? If at all it was wrong.
First of all, I think that accident itself, it was really shocking to me because I think the night before, when he was having his concert, and after that, I think along the alley or lobby of some building where he was with the guy. I was watching him and he was like, there was always hype.
Always hype.
I was watching him. So I saw the status maybe around, not his status. I saw him on some other person's status. Around 1. Then I get up in the morning and he's involved in this really ghastly accident. And I'm like, this is sad. I could not factor that he must have been the one driving out. Assume after seeing what I saw that he probably was supposed to have a driver, but he did not. Shit happens and people make bad decisions, and sometimes people make the right decision and shit still happens. But I was really surprised by the press release because, as I said, the press release completely lacked empathy. Which was what, somebody has died.
So, yeah.
Every other thing comes secondary to that.
Yes.
Human life.
And crisis management is really about strategic communication. It's not about manipulation.
At all.
You can lie. Like, don't open lie the whole time. No.
Yeah,
you cannot. It is, first of all, immaterial if the driver escaped. And I know that is typical of thing not to do in crisis management is pointing fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And trying to put the blame
On someone.
on someone else. So that's the first thing I was doing. The second thing I looked at, it was he didn't realize that he was dealing with the crisis.
Yeah.
He thought he was dealing with trouble.
Yeah.
Because see, with crisis, the brand is affected, income is affected, and then public opinion is really affected. You have to think it through to the end before putting out anything. And you have to factor in public perception of what you'll be putting out. And put yourself at the other side of what you're doing and say, okay, what am I, this thing that I'm putting? They've said you should not, I mean, we're in a country where our government, when it engages in public relations, they consider spin to be black propaganda. They just go to complete lie, vehement refusal and that. So we think that we can just copy it even in the private sector. You remember when the extrajudicial killing of women and children in the north, in the extreme north, and the government came out to say immediately when this report came out, just came and said, no, these are Malians. And then said in the same press release that the president has asked that they should investigate. What are you investigating?
If I thought they were
Malians, establish that these are Malians. What they were trying to do in that press release was pass off guilt to the driver, rather than acknowledge that something fatal happens there, and that show empathy for the family that is grieving. If I were a family member and I'm saying that, and even just as a fan, just saying that, I'm like, but who writes this type of thing?
Well, maybe that explains the reaction from the family, because immediately Erica's father came up and totally blamed Tenor for the death of his daughter and said he's going to pay, whether in prison or any other format. He's going to pay. Maybe, I don't know whether, sometimes when managers, I think that we have a major problem with managing artists, PROs, PAs, A&Rs, and social media managers. Those sectors in entertainment, I don't know whether it's one person who just runs everything without knowing that that's what he or she is doing, or they actually know and then they embody all these sectors into one. Like, how does it work?
Yeah, obviously, you know that when it comes to entertainment particularly, we do not really have this type of structure here. So the structures exist in the head, but the function usually is embodied in one human being who really does not master a lot of the things. And quite frankly, or none. Yeah. And quite frankly, PR is not something to joke with, and crisis management is not something to joke, because you can take an already bad situation. So this is the crisis they are dealing with, and the public relations officers or the manager turns this into a PR crisis.
Yeah. There you go.
So the PR crisis was not it wasn't the crisis. We're dealing with the crisis that has occurred. You know, as being involved in a gas motor accident, someone has died. There's a fatality in it. Then you come and add to it now. You come and add to it. So it's now the reputation and everything. You come and add to it a PR crisis. Nobody asks sure. Nobody asks you to come and add to that. And oftentimes people do not realize this, that immediately you get it wrong, you add onto it. Yeah. You allow room for a lot of speculation, you allow room for a lot of argument. When crisis management is not you necessarily, it's more like leading
the conversation.
Yeah.
Setting the agenda, basically.
Setting the agenda.
So that, because at the end of the day, whatever I put out there is what the news wants with it.
Exactly.
And sometimes in your statements, right, in addressing the difference, because obviously in public relations you have the internal publics and external publics, and then in all of that you break it down differently to different stakeholders. So now, if you're addressing a particular public, you know you have to pick your words carefully, because you could say the right things, and then you end with something, a soundbite, which that's what they pick, and that's what they pick, and that's what they run with. So you have to be very concise with your information.
Like the driver running away.
That's why everybody picked out. Not the fact that Tenor was in an accident in the hospital.
It did not pass the smell test. And people could sense. That's why I say you have to think of public perception.
Yeah.
People could sense immediately that they were trying to deflect.
But what baffles me, this whole thing, what is really funny is the fact that did Tafis actually understand that there were eyewitnesses everywhere, from the club where they left or the concert ground where they left to entering the car?
Imagine that you did not have that information.
Yeah, imagine.
It would still not make sense.
But
for you to try to put out something in which you are stating that the driver is nowhere to be found.
No, I get
what I'm saying. Like you're putting out a statement as if there's nobody.
He's assuming that.
You understand what I'm saying? Like he's assuming.
Like you just have to. To him, it is clearly he thought that his role was to cover up something.
Yeah.
You understand? His role at that point was not to cover up anything. His role was to direct, right? Create some empathy, lead the conversation, make it in such a way that the public is guided as to the public perception as to how to think. Instead, develop more empathy for the family that's lost and also for Tenor who is suffering. They don't know how to end up in that place. But no, what he decides to do is to manipulate the information. I think I got information from Better Things of Tenor himself speaking out for the first time and actually saying that he had a driver with him, but he was at the driving seat.
Bam.
Okay, how can your PR say you
were not driving?
You're not, and then that's
come back
just
inconsistency means there are already loopholes. But I can understand maybe because they saw the way things were moving, right, and say, okay, let's correct this by putting out what exactly happened. Then in trying to manage a crisis, they just mess it up further because at the end of the day,
so they turn the crisis from that to manipulation and now to incrimination.
Yes, because at the end of the day,
because they could use the statement. My issue is that one of the things that the whole thing was just so wild, and I felt like I am managing an artist.
Yeah,
the artist. Livelihood, well-being, existence, being alive is where my money comes from.
Yeah.
Right? My job at that point, if I'm with an artist as a manager in a club and I see the state in which he is, I would rather beat you up for trying to drive. No, I'd rather beat you up for trying to drive under the influence and be filmed around the world. And whatever it is, the excuse is that rather than him dying, I beat him up. Than allowing your client to get into the car when you know that he's definitely high or something is wrong, he's not okay. And then you allow him drive, no matter the circumstance. That's the thing that I don't understand.
Maybe he was not allowed. Maybe.
No. That's the thing. This is my point. My point is that this is where he got confused between managing an artist and doing PA for an artist.
Yeah.
Now, the PA doesn't perhaps have that kind of power to hold an artist and say, you're not moving. But the manager, boy, if I'm managing you, you're not managing that car.
The question is,
the
manager might not have, not have known. Might not have
right
been
there.
Oh, he was there.
No, see, even if it's there, I think we should expand on that thing here. The fact is the dynamics, the relationship dynamics between artists and managers.
No. My thing is that so long as it's a manager there, you are not moving.
The relationship. You might call it a manager, but really it's a glorified P.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, you could say don't do this, but the artist, because he feels like he's the one bringing the money, he pays you, right? He feels like it's bigger than you, who's supposed to be the manager, who's supposed to make decisions in his best interest. So you don't do this thing like I forget that thing, that also comes with how you establish your relationship from the first day. Right, setting the ground rules and setting, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen. And then also, we should not confuse managers for publicists. Because he, in his capacity as a manager, who is okay, bringing the business, managing the artists, his relationship with other clients, that's client relations and being a manager. A publicist is managing the person's image, right? Simple terms, public relations, the relationship between the artist or the business and these different publics. Like we say, okay, maybe the media, brands, the fans, and then also internally. So maybe the A&R, the director, and all of that. So he's managing the relationship and making sure that everything that's being put out is consistent, and also it's in the right image of the artist. So it then also goes back to the fact that artists don't establish an image for themselves which they want to put out. Because if you start by saying, okay, well, I want to make money. There's no ground rules. But if you know you want to make money with certain principles, you're going to do this, going to do that. Because I like to think of social media, especially for artists and brands, as negotiating your reputation daily, right? So in the eventuality of a crisis, what happens is that people have something to reference to. There's precedence. Okay, this person has always been like this. He cannot do this. You already control the conversation.
Yes.
Because there's consistency in your attitude, in your behavior. But then now, when people don't see this particular image of you,
is that he had a consistent image. Of,
being vibrant and all of that.
So it might even, perhaps that's why it was shocking to people to even think that he was not the one driving. And that it can only be him driving to have
That kind of
accident.
Yeah.
There are people who have situations like this. So let's take an example that you have a local. And local has quite a squeaky clean image.
Yeah.
That in saying, oh, local was not driving, it's easy for people to digest
Yeah.
that he wasn't really driving. It's not really,
It's not hyped like
like that. So
Yeah, so I mean that's really it. That's really it, and it's crazy. And also you talked about what to make a distinction between who a social media manager is, a PA, a publicist, and then also the
A&R
and all that.
manager.
In Cameroon, there's no money first of all. So people's like,
We cannot pay
"Master,
all these people."
I'll be the Swiss Army knife of this thing. Play all the roles, and then in playing all the roles, they cut everybody up, and then people start bleeding because they cannot manage this thing very well.
But this is a clear case of
Yes,
that. Because
the thing is, first of all, Tenor is from a record level, international record level. You expect better structure and better management of these things because it's not people. I mean,
is it still in the record?
he's still
yeah, he's still there.
ambassading
No, he
him and
actually
out.
left Universal to Def Jam, right?
Yes.
Because Def Jam is like the rap arm of Universal. So if you're there, you expect better. I mean, I expect that from a normal record level where you don't know better. You can give them an excuse, which is Def Jam, one of the biggest acts in Africa, actually.
Yeah.
You understand? And then going through this whole mess.
Wow. Was there not talking
wild.
and not talking?
He added something in the communique. A fan whom
He said Erica was a fan.
A fan. I mean, that word fan you met that day. When I think when the
and he was
records,
going to drop her off.
does he drop fans like that every day?
That's what the question was.
Yeah.
Like, so Tenor just drops off
Like
fans after
he just
his
left
match.
a lot of hope.
Nah.
It was
for
just,
people to-
oh my God.
But the biggest thing, again, and I was saying this to my younger brother because going to Limbe and they were speeding in my head. I'm like, see, we've all been trained.
We are not all our parents right now.
Yes, that I know that we all have this. I mean, most younger people have this invincibility fable
Yeah.
in their head that if an accident is going to happen, they'll surely jump. They'll surely take the car,
Superman.
and do that and survive. You will not survive it. So speeding, drunk driving is something that
Totally off.
people should really.
It's totally
yeah,
off.
at least this thing
Anyway,
is-
for those who don't know, if Tenor is found guilty, he stands a chance of actually, if he's found guilty of all these charges levied against him, that is drunk driving under the influence, unintentionally killing somebody, as well as perhaps driving without a proper driving license, Tenor stands a chance of going to prison for 20 years maximum. And so we are hoping that, well, it doesn't really come to that. Maybe, of course, if he's found guilty, he should serve them behind bars because, I mean, someone died. But maybe not 20 years.
Why?
I don't know.
You're such fun, yeah.
If he's guilty,
If he's guilty,
I mean, if he's
guilty,
guilty, that's
he
what
has
he's
to go through something that will make the family of the girl feel like this is enough.
But
punishment.
but here is the thing. Other artists have, sympathized with the situation. And a couple of things yesterday or 2 days ago sent out a message and like, we understand that somebody has passed away, but please let's and did like a free Tenor kind of thing. I was like,
please.
I don't
Free Tenor. You see, these are the things that add to the problem
Yeah, because
because
My goodness.
it shows no empathy to the people.
we understand that somebody has passed away, but we should also
Nobody
consider
asked him.
Tenor.
Nobody asked
We should
him.
consider Tenor. He's not the only artist who has said that. Other people, Lady Pons also came on like we should pray for Tenor. Tenor does
not the family who lost the
We should
child.
pray for, no, she actually sympathized with the family.
Okay.
That's lip service.
also-
Nobody asked you even. See, that's just lip service. I can understand you feeling like, oh,
Your colleague.
this is my colleague
Yeah.
and he's too young. They say he's 22.
Yeah, that's what Lady Pons' point was. Like, imagine Tenor is going to spend like 10 years behind bars and he's just 22, 23 now.
If this
Imagine
were
you add
not-
10
if
years,
this were
like,
not Tenor.
please, let's do
Yeah.
it. So,
If this were not Tenor,
would she speak?
if
she even know?
if it had happened to her daughter with Tenor,
Oh, shit.
would she have empathized like that?
She'll be looking for 50 years behind bars. That's for sure.
The question is, in saying those things, you have to actually project yourself. That's why you will know what to say.
Yeah.
Project yourself to the other side. Who is affected? How are they affected?
Yeah.
In doing that, it's not that you will not be able to support them, but you know exactly how to word it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand? You know exactly how to word it. You don't just come and invalidate the pain that the other person is going
Yeah,
through.
just because you're standing by
because you're
your
standing by.
and
friend.
it's
But this,
Yeah.
since we're
Like
talking about
I'm a person.
My boy.
But since we are talking about crisis management, PR madness that is happening in this country, there's a lot of things besides the whole Tenor situation.
Yeah.
Other artists who have also been involved in some PR mess and all of that. You had the Kamini, is it Meshi situation? Meshi also accusing female artists for not, participating or I don't even know how to, or collaborating, refusing to collaborate when she asked for collaborations for her album. Kamini also was accused of, what was she accused of again? For being snobbish in the industry.
Really
and someone called for a collaboration, and she vehemently or her manager said that they should pay for the collaboration. And she came online crying and said she not, it was Mimi, the artist, who said in a radio interview that, Kamini's manager asked for payments for a collaboration and, to make it made it like a big deal. So Kamini came online and was like crying and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mama, they treated you like that. I had no knowledge of this. And so I'm very open to collaboration. My question is is it that because we are friends, I'm not supposed to do business because collaborations are not supposed to be paid for?
They are supposed to be paid for, but I think it's a bigger problem. She's undermining her manager's authority. The manager has said you're going to be paid for this because that's how you make money, right?
Yeah.
There are different revenue schemes for artists. There's endorsement deals, there's merchandise, there's collaborations, there's blah, 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 blah. So many things along the way.
Yeah.
But then if you want to collaborate with an artist like Mimi from Universal Record level, I mean, you are an up-and-coming artist who's still young, you can understand, okay, well, I mean, we can compromise. Maybe we get these rights and all of that. There are legal ways to go about that.
Yeah.
But then you cannot want to do a collaboration for free. And when the person refuses, you throw tantrums. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, it's really crazy.
I think the question, to me, the way I saw it was, it's really in the response, not the response of saying you have to pay, but the tone in which the artist uses. Okay. When it is dismissive, when it feels like, I'm doing you a favor by doing this.
Yeah.
So it makes it such a way that it's like you are.
But how was it asked as well? Because in the whole process, Mimi also said that when she came for Kamini's EP launch or album, I can't remember which one, and she tried to approach Kamini
with the same.
Yeah, with the same, with the same request, and she was like, "Please talk to my manager," because that was her event. So she's like everywhere. So she can't really sit down. That's
the point I'm saying, that if the person is not naturally rude, what happens is, this is a colleague. She's there for your event. Yes. Remember, it's your event, but she's there to support you for your event. And we know that these are the places where people do networking. They don't just come there to see you because you have an event.
Yeah.
Okay, she comes there, there's an opportunity for you guys to work too, and she says it. An artist who is brilliant to say, maybe we can talk about it. It seems like a brilliant idea. Yeah. And then maybe later on you're like, okay, I think that we can work on this. Maybe our managers can talk about this more. Yeah. You discover that you take both of you out of the equation. You show a willingness to work with her.
Yeah, so deal with the managers.
Deal with the technical issues. Yeah. But for someone who is naturally rude, the person will just say, go to my manager, or just be dismissive about it. Or if you don't want to work with the person,
which is a recurrent problem in Cameroon.
But it's a recurrent problem with her, isn't it?
Allegedly.
Yeah, because
because you get how much.
She said something about her being tomboyish. Maybe that's why she doesn't have friends. Female friends.
Can you not say that? No. Yeah. Actually, Kamini, to me, right, personally, Kamini has never been rude to me. She's actually been very sweet to me.
I mean, the devil. The devil, I'm not saying she's the devil, but I'm just putting in context. Like the devil is also, I mean, people in hell will say, oh, the devil is the best person they know. You understand?
No.
I'm just giving that perspective.
I love Lucifer.
But to even imagine, to imagine that, to know if somebody is a decent person is not how the person treats the people who are of their level or above their level. So I will not be expecting her to be rude to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you understand, but I think there's another thing here, which I mean, you mentioned this whole case between Mimi and Kamini and the female artists. It's less of a PR crisis or anything. It's more of trouble, wahala between them.
It's trouble.
Yes,
that's trouble.
It's not because it's just personal trouble.
No, but when it's affecting your image and reputation and stuff.
I get that, but I'm saying that the thing is, there's a thin line, right? Because people feel like And that's
not every problem is there.
It's a crisis.
It's a crisis. Like,
Yes,
that
it can
one
be
is
managed.
trouble.
Yes, it's trouble.
And it might not really affect you. It's true that it can rise to the level of it with social media and how people could drag the information and beat it up and turn it into something else. It's true, but you do not see it. You have to project to see whether this thing is a lasting. I failed an exam. I failed, I think, from 3 promotion exam, and I wasn't promoted. It wasn't a crisis. Like, life will change. I went and failed from experience.
You did not just have sense. That was simple.
Sense left him.
It just ended. Just ended. You understand?
Yes. So I did not have sense.
But look at you now.
But see now.
We thank the Lord.
Oh, we really thank
I'm coming in. But I mean, people should watch her. I love her.
I love her music.
I love her music. I also think that sometimes artists are put under the people expect a kind of politeness from them sometimes even when they don't feel like it. Because she was explaining about having personal troubles like facing personal troubles, and maybe sometimes people want you to smile. I mean, I'm sure that both of you, people have stopped you along the road. I'm saying because both of you are celebrities, right? People have stopped you along the road to talk to you, and maybe you're not being in your best mood. You.
Clearly not me. Anyway, guys, so what do you think about the PR situation in Cameroon, especially in the entertainment industry in Cameroon? Forget about politics and all of those things. But do you think that what can be done to improve that aspect or that sector of the entertainment business?
I'll tell you one thing. There's a difference between a PR, a PRO. PR is a job. PR is what you do.
Yes.
You are the person, and publicist you can PRO or publicist, not
PRO.
Also,
crisis management.
Clarify just a little correction.
We should not be saying that
on the show that the reason why this was considered as a PR problem, the Kamini thing, was because immediately that thing happened, Kamini put a post that les sorcelleries and things like that.
Exactly.
So because she put seems like her response to what.
So it became
so that was actually an internal thing that was taken public.
Exactly.
Boom. Crisis.
There you go. So I think that maybe we need to read more on this topic. PR, those who flaunt themselves as PRs, PROs, PAs, managers, A&Rs.
Yes.
What else again is in that line?
Social media managers.
Yeah, social media managers, image managers, or whatever. All of that. Please read more on what you say you do, because in situations like this, we don't want another cafe situation.
And not the roles
Please,
too.
know what you have to say. Think things through. Think at the opposite side. However you want to think, just think well before you open your mouth and start speaking. Because, man, you can land yourself or your own client in more trouble. So what do you think about the whole situation? Did Tafis handle it better? What do you think about Tenor? And obviously, our condolence go to Erica's family. And, I just hope that they go through this pain and try to get comfort within the family. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yana, thank you for coming. Elongish, thank you.
Always.
Thank you guys. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channels, Decoded TV Studios, as well as, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Freaky Tables. John Gomba. See you guys soon.
Freaky Table is brought to you by Nikki Hits Beauty Studio, Bona Musadi, Douala, and Jungle Hawk, Boya.
Contact Jungle Studios, which is located at Solidarity Junction, Boya, for all your photography and videography.
Thanks for watching the dopest TV show right now.
And don't forget to subscribe so that you can continue seeing our beautiful faces. Scratch that, my handsome face.
Alright guys, and to never miss a thing, follow us on all social media platforms at Freaky Table, Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, stay tuned.